Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my daughter's wedding even if I promised to? My 39M daughter, 21F, is going to get married this June. Since she was a little girl I promised to pay for her wedding, but something happened 2 days ago that made me change my mind. Background: my ex-wife and I had our daughter at a very young age, 18. We got married. After 6 years of marriage I could find myself and come out to my wife. She understood and we had a very amicable divorce and split custody. My daughter was always daddy's girl and always got along well with my partner, 38M, of 14 years. She is planning her wedding. I was paying for it, and let me know a few things she wanted for her special day. Since their future in-laws are so conservative and religious, my husband is not allowed to attend the wedding. I said, okay, it's your day. My son, too, can't attend either. No, it's not going to be a child-free wedding. I can't talk about my lifestyle, because she doesn't make her in-laws uncomfortable. Therefore, I told her that if her in-laws are so important, they should pay for the wedding. She got mad at me and called me a child and said that if I keep on with this attitude, she'll ask her Phil to walk her down the aisle. Then I said, fine, if my family isn't welcomed and I'm excluded, I'm not paying for the wedding. She was furious and said I was being selfish, picking favorites, and not thinking about her at all. She complains that they can't afford the wedding since they are both too young and reminded me it was a promise I made. Everyone including her mom is calling me selfish, so am I the asshole here? Not the asshole. She can't disrespect and try to hide your marriage while also expecting you to pay for hers. Not the asshole. You're her father, that hasn't changed. These people came into her life when her boyfriend, now fiancé, introduced her to them. She's putting their lifestyle and beliefs above her own father. You have no obligation to pay for her wedding, and for her to threaten you with asking the Phil to walk her down the aisle is petty, childish and just plain nasty. You're not even invited to this farce anymore. You are her dad, not her personal bank. Not a penny. Seriously. Your daughter has decided that she can't please everyone. She has chosen to please her bigoted new family and reject the people who lovingly raised her. Bonus points, she is trying to be the victim in her narrative. I'm so sorry you are being disrespected in such a blatant way. Be strong and stay true to yourself and your lovely family. Your husband and son will never forget how you stood up for them. Not the asshole, of course. Dude, your daughter is not mature enough to get married. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I don't understand this attitude. You and your husband will turn up, sit in your seats, eat some food and dance with your son. What's the problem? Is she worried you're going to have sex on top of the cake? I mean, if that's the case, then don't do that. Not because you're a same-sex couple, but because it's a no at weddings. Save it till you get home. If they're so uncomfortable with other people existing, then maybe they shouldn't come. I'm so sorry you had to find out about your daughter's shallowness and disloyalty in this manner. Give your husband and son big hugs. Your family doesn't deserve to be treated this way. Edit. You made a promise to your daughter. She's just told you that she doesn't consider you family. Promise is null and void. She got mad at me and called me a child and said that if I keep on with this attitude, she'll ask her Phil to walk her down the aisle. But she still wants you to pay for it. Lol. I'm sorry your daughter is treating you this way. I wouldn't pay for shit either. Why the fuck should you have to go back in the closet because she wants to appease a group of bigots? Not the asshole. Your daughter is allowing homophobia and pleasing other people to have an excuse to exclude and expects you to fund that? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Too young to treat her father with respect and pay for her own damned wedding, too young to get married anyway. Am I the asshole for forcing my husband to teach my daughter husband duties? My daughter, 14F, has always been a tomboy and prefers doing traditionally male activities. She likes skiing, hockey, hiking and video games. It's been a pain point between her and her father, my husband. He wants her to be more ladylike and she does things to intentionally piss him off, like refusing to wear dresses or going to a sleepover and coming back with a short haircut. My husband and my son are starting renovating the house and my daughter asked to join. My husband is absolutely against it, saying she could overstrain herself or get hurt. She's already taken wood working in her classes and she's more responsible than my son. If anyone is losing a digit from the saw, it's more likely him. I argued with my husband, telling him she will probably be a homeowner one day and knowing how to do basic things around the house is important. He argues she will have her husband to do all those things. I got angry because my dad was the same way. He was a mechanic but didn't teach me anything about cars because my boyfriend would do it for me and girls don't need to know it. Just who got stuck with a flat tire and no data at the middle of the woods. A 19-year-old me, and it sucked. I put my foot down and forced him to include our daughter, teaching her how to change a ceiling light and use basic tools. He maintains it's not necessary to teach her how to do these things, and she is making them slower on finishing the house, and I'd rather they be slow and teach her, and it's not like they are in a rush. Your husband sounds like he teleported in from 1953 with this bullshit. He thinks your 14-year-old daughter will strain herself if she picks up a hammer. You are not the asshole, but your husband sure sounds like one. Keep sticking up for your daughter, she sounds awesome. Hiking and skiing are traditionally male activities? WTF? Do males use their penises as ski poles or walking sticks? Not the asshole, your husband is sexist. He needs to be called out and his views need to be challenged if he wants to have any kind of positive relationship with his daughter going forward. She's not stupid, and his attitude is hurtful. Not the asshole. Are you also teaching your son how to cook and do laundry? Home repair and chores aren't gendered tasks, and your husband is being a sexist asshole. Not the asshole. Your husband is a misogynistic asshole who thinks your daughter is less than a person and probably thinks the same of you. It's good for people of all genders to learn basic repairs and handiwork, and he's literally got no reason to say otherwise except being a misogynistic asshole. Not the asshole. Basic life tasks aren't gendered, and he needs to be knocked down a peg or two. Does your husband think cooking is women's work as well? If so, you might ask him why most chefs are men if that's how it works. Not the asshole, but I'm impressed your husband manages to have conversations with you when he's back there in 1952. You are the asshole for not nipping this sexist bullshit in the bud years ago. It's not cute to impose misogynist gender roles on your kids, it's toxic. Am I the asshole for scolding my struggling sister when she gives us grief about adopting a baby? My sister, 35 female, and her husband, 37 male, have been struggling with infertility since they got married 12 years ago. They've tried absolutely everything, from medical to spiritual, but unfortunately, nothing works. Now that she's approaching late 30s, they're starting to look into adoption, but it's also been a slow going, since their financial condition isn't exactly stable from multiple rounds of fertility treatments they went through. I can only imagine the struggle, and I sympathize with her, but the stress this situation is bringing her and her husband honestly puts a strain on our relationship. My husband and I, both 30, lost our best friends, Mason and his wife, Kate, 2 weeks ago in a horrible car accident. They left behind their son Pete, who isn't even 2 yet. It was so sudden and so heart-wrenching. We're still grieving, which lowers out contact with a lot of people, including my sister and Bill. Our main concern right now is ourselves and Pete, whose custody has come to us because we're both his godparents, actively engaged in Pete's life since his birth, and because Mason and Kate have neither left a will nor have immediate living relatives who can take him in. We've decided to adopt Pete as soon as we can stomach the process. My husband and I never planned on having kids, and even if we did, this is absolutely not the way we want to go about it. The situation is far from ideal, but we're starting the adoption process yesterday, for Pete's safety if nothing else. We broke the news to our extended families and friends, letting them know that my husband and I won't be very available for a little longer because of this. I know my sister and brother-in-law will have something to say about this. I'm prepared for a few heated text messages or voicemails. However, I didn't expect them to turn up on our doorstep, crying about how unfair it is that we were given everything they wanted, and how we didn't deserve to be parents because we didn't go through what they had to. I've never seen my husband so angry before. He's usually very mild and gentle, but recent events have stretched our patience to the limits. We kicked them off of our porch, and I told my sister before she left that since our pain inconveniences her so much, I won't have her around me and my family at all anymore. I know she made a fuss about it, and now everyone has something to say to us. We turned off our phones, so we don't know which ones are cursing us and which one aren't. I know some are. My husband and I are both in pain and grieving, and we can't trust ourselves to be objective. Did we go too far? Edit. I originally did not want to put this information in, because I don't want everyone to point at it and say this is the reason we're not in the wrong. For the sake of disclosure, my husband and I are both men. No, this is not a case of homophobia. My sister, for all her fault, was the first person to accept me for who I love, and I will not hear a single word about this in the comment. Hey, adopted kid here. I can give you tips on how to be an asshole if you want to be, because this story inflames me anyway. Your sister and her husband, much like my parents, tried everything else before even considering adoption. That makes their future kid their very last option. They clearly would rather have their own child. This attitude disgusts me, personally, but whatever, I guess that's normal for society. Pete is your first option. You sacrificed the lifestyle you wanted to have for him. You chose his life before the future you envisioned, not as a last-ditch effort. Guaranteed you'll be a better parent. YWBTA if you told her this, and honestly I encourage it. Not the asshole. I'm sorry, but that's just disgusting behavior from your sister. You got everything you wanted? Your close friends died and you have to go through an unexpected adoption for their son who is now orphaned. I know she's stressed, but that's just horrible what she said, honestly. Not the asshole. You opened your hearts and your home to a little boy who needed you, and your sister has the gall to make it all about her? Fuck no. Pete lost both his parents. You want unfair? That is unfair. Not the asshole. Crying about how unfair it is that we were given everything they wanted. I'm pretty sure all you want are your friends back. Your sister is a complete for thinking a tragedy in which you lost your friends and this poor kid lost his parents as you being blessed. She's so delusional in her need for a child that she's lost the plot, and I actually fear for any child that she may get her hands on. Children do not complete us. They are not some missing piece we need to be whole. That's a lie fabricated by religious organizations to make women produce children. Your sister needs intensive therapy, and you are right to cut everyone off while you grieve. Not the asshole. The fact that you already expected to get some heat from them says a lot about who they are as people. Some people are so caught up in their own narratives, it's ridiculous. What exactly does your sister and brother-in-law expect you to do to rectify the unfairness they're feeling? Let Pete go to foster care? Give him to them? This little boy has lost his parents at an age where he'll hold no proper memories of them as he grows. I'm sure you'll tell him all about his mom and dad, but it's not the same. Not the asshole. I commend you and your husband for taking in a child when you didn't want kids of your own, right now. You're doing the right thing by Pete and by his parents, RIP. Keep everyone negative shut out for as long as you need to. Edited to add, right now, as per Op's comment below. Not the asshole. What more can you do? You're between a rock and a hard place. The most important thing in the world is Pete and his safety. If adopting him will keep him safe, then what other people think is irrelevant. It's heartbreaking for your sister and brother-in-law, but ultimately, you have to do what's right for the child, and their situation isn't your fault, concern or problem. It is unbelievably selfish that they're thinking of themselves in this situation rather than the child whose entire world has just come crashing down around him, and you too, who just lost very dear friends. Not the asshole, Op, not the asshole in the slightest. Nope. Not the asshole. Your sister and brother-in-law are huge assholes for scolding you for adopting your godson as you're devastated by the deaths of your best friends. How absolutely vile of them. Am I the asshole for letting my husband do all these emasculating things for me? Hi there Redditors, please help me out here. So the other day my good friend and her husband came over to my house to have dinner with me, 31 female, and my husband, 31 male. We had an enjoyable time talking and they loved the food. The subject came to how to make this particular dish. I am not a good cook at all, and my husband has always been the one to cook the meals as he loves to cook. He grew up in a family that all cooks together. So I told them that my husband cooked and I wasn't sure. This is where it went weird. My friend and her husband starting laughing and asking if we were serious about me not being a good cook and that my husband is actually the housewife in the relationship doing all the cooking. I thought they were joking and said, so what? My husband cuts my nails and holds my girly handbag when we go shopping, is that not allowed also? My friend's husband went ballistic and told my husband off for allowing me to emasculate and control him like that, saying that he would never do those things and he knows his place in their relationship. They both were angry at me and left straight away. Now they keep messaging my husband and telling him to divorce me. AITA. Maybe. NTA sounds like you did a good job picking a husband but a bad job picking friends. Not the asshole. Funny how most of the most famous chefs in the world are all men, such as Gordon Ramsay. But when man does the cooking at home, it's suddenly a woman's job? Not the asshole. Your friends are expecting you to adhere to some kind of 1950s sitcom version of gender roles. Also going so far as to tell your husband to divorce you is an intrusion. The fact that it actually made them angry just shows they're irrational. Should probably tell my dad that my mum has been emasculating him for the last 40-odd years so since he does the cooking. Not the asshole. It sounds like your friends have trouble in their own relationship and are trying to make your relationship sound wrong to justify theirs. Maybe they've brought up in the past to each other about the sexist chore split and it's a sore subject. Sounds like the friend's husband is the type to babysit his kids and not change a nappy because it's weird. My husband does similar stuff. He cooks. I can't cook to save my life, but am an okay baker, cleans and does a lot little things to help me out, like dyeing my hair if I rarely ask, and always puts on my fake lashes. On the other side of the scale, I do a lot of other stuff to balance it out. That's just how relationships are. You balance each other and look after each other. But that's just me. Woman shrugging, light skin tone. Not the asshole. Sounds like a whole lot of toxic masculinity and internalized misogyny. Maybe your friend's husband is scared your friend will realize she can do so much better than a marching red flag of stereotypes and insecurity. Maybe she even will. Until then, enjoy your delicious food and loving husband and cut the drama from your life. Sounds like your husband is comfortable with his masculinity. If friend's husband feels like cooking or holding a purse for a minute is emasculating, then he obviously is not comfortable with his own masculinity. Real men don't think twice about these things, because it's not a threat to their manliness. Your friend and her husband sound horribly old-fashioned and ignorant. Not the asshole. Tell your friends, it's not the 50s anymore, there's no need for there to be a housewife. Also, I think your friend is just jealous because her husband doesn't do anything nice for her. Expressionless.